Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members sharing tips on how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member, bringing you yet another outstanding interview. This episode is episode number 80, and I've got a really special guest with us today. Today's special guest is Leisa Gill, who's the franchise owner of BNI Brisbane, Southwest, and Toowoomba. Leisa, hello, how are you?
Hi, Tony. 80. I'm so excited. I don't
Me
feel
too.
80.
Me too. So thank you for being here. Well, let's kick it off with that. What is it about the fact that we've reached 80 episodes? What does that actually mean to you?
Well, I think 80 episodes means people are listening, hopefully. So you want to keep going. And the fact that, we've always got to start somewhere. So 80 episodes in, I think I wrote on my feedback, I hope we get to 800. So you got to race with Ivan, but that's okay. 80 is great, meaning there's stories and there's enough feedback and tips out there that we can keep helping our BNI members.
Yeah, amazing. And how does this impact what's happening in BNI Brisbane? The fact that we're sharing these stories.
Well, Tony, the more stories that people can hear, the more excited people get because it's actually putting our money where our mouth is. BNI says there's all these amazing things that happen, but unless the members are telling those stories, people aren't necessarily going to believe them. So by sharing that information around and hearing those stories, the more people hearing it, because you only hear what you hear in your own chapter. But if the more people can hear those stories, then I think let's keep sharing them. I think it's great.
Well, speaking of stories, why don't you share your story? How did you get involved in BNI?
There's so many aspects of this, but there's a few things I want to mention is I love the fact that it was a set agenda. I'm not a time waster. If you know me, I'm short, sharp, and quick. I want to get in. I want to run a meeting. I want to know what to expect. And I used to run a cafe. So I knew by 9 o'clock, I was back in my cafe. So then I joined BNI to build my catering business. And I did that for 7 years. And the first time I got invited, I didn't go back for a year. Not many people know that. So,
Right. What happened at that first meeting?
well, someone gave me an application form, said, we'd love to join you. And then I never heard from anyone ever again. And I'm like, well, then they didn't really want me to join and they weren't that excited. So then I waited again. And a year later, somebody invited me to a big breakfast in those days. And I was like, okay, these people seem genuinely interested in me being there. And then I put in an application, and that was 20 years ago.
Wow. So you've just had your 20th anniversary.
Well, no, it's going to be on the stage in Sydney, Tony. I'm
Right.
ready for my pin. I'm very excited to get my 20th pin on the Australian stage of the global conference. So it'll be, I think it's 20 years in November. I think it's
Right.
pretty much.
Wow. Okay. So you got involved in BNI to get your catering business up and running. At what point then did you decide, hang on, I like this BNI thing and I could perhaps become a franchise owner?
So that took another 7 years because I became a mortgage broker. Anyone who wants to know that story, it's a session. But I built my mortgage broking business through BNI for 7 years. And then the opportunity came up in the last year of my broking business to buy the region. And so I bought Brisbane West, and Toowoomba didn't like being left out. So I brought Brisbane West and Toowoomba. And then I bought a bit of South. So it became Southwest and Toowoomba. So I say I believed in the system so much I bought it.
Wow. Wow. It puts your money where your mouth is. Absolutely. So how long ago was that, Lisa?
So I bought it 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago. Okay, amazing. And so, in that time, I mean, can you share a defining moment in your BNI journey that shaped your perspective on networking?
I don't know that there was any one defining moment, Tony, but I'd have to say probably the biggest thing that ever impressed me and knocked my socks off was when we went into lockdown. Within 2 weeks of lockdown, BNI globally put every country on Zoom within 2 weeks with a PowerPoint and everything we needed to keep the business running. So if I hadn't been in a franchise, there is no way I could have known how to do that. And just the consideration of what that looked like that impressed me so much that I knew that I was in the right place. So I think that was 2 years in or 1 year in, and I'm like, I am where I'm absolutely meant to be with support.
And what do you believe makes BNI different from other networking organisations? Because there's plenty out there. Why is BNI so special?
I love that question. Well, 40 years worth, we must be doing something right. And we've evolved. So someone said to me recently, BNI is the same thing. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, they haven't changed the agenda much. And I said, no, but I believe they polished it. So they polished it. We've got an app that works in 77 countries. So what sets us aside, and I love this analogy, whoever created it, thank you, is that BNI is all about building a network. A lot of those other organizations are about networking. What do we want to do? You need to be really clear about, as a member, what do you want to do? Do you want to build a network? We're going to give you everything to build a network. If you want to go and do networking, well, there's only 15 minutes before the meeting of official networking in BNI. So if you want a structure that we can help you succeed in your business, we're going to give that to you. If you don't want a structure, good luck. Go and do networking.
Yeah, no, terrific. Well said, Lisa. What are some of the big misconceptions about BNI that you'd like to clear up?
Look, I think when I first bought the franchise and I was approaching everybody and anybody, I'm so excited, is Lisa, I don't want to be told who I have to refer to. And I said, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, if I join Tony's chapter, I have to refer to him as a business coach. And I said, yes, of course, because he's amazing. No, but seriously, you know what? People have to earn your trust first. So there is no have to refer to someone in the room. If they haven't earned your trust, why would I put my own credibility on the line to refer you? So I think it's a big misconception is you have to refer to who's in the room. Now, when I first joined BNI, I said to my husband, we need to change accountants. And he said, get stuffed. I'm like, what do you mean get stuffed? He said, Lisa, I've been with the same accountant for 20 years. I'm not changing accountants. And so that put me in a bit of a quandary because I was told I had to refer to the person in the room. So there's nothing wrong with me building a relationship with that accountant to refer other people to that accountant, but we never changed accountants. But did I refer that accountant in the room? Absolutely. So I think it's a really big misconception that we have an agenda. And the other misconception is, oh, well, you're very rigid. Well, we're not actually rigid, but if you left to your own devices, what would that look like? We've done the process for you. We've created an agenda for you. You just need to follow it because you're going to get results if you follow it.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it before in regards to BNI is 40 years old and it hasn't got to 40 years of success, by accident. It's got there by design and it's clearly what it does works. And like you said, it's an amazing system. It's an amazing set of processes, but they don't work themselves. You've got to work the system, work the processes to get the most out of it.
Absolutely. And there's so much training. If you're not sure how to follow that, there's so much training in BNI, which I love. So we're not just going to say to you, go and do a one-to-one, good luck, go and have a coffee. We're going to say, here's a structure to make the most out of it. My first one-to-one in BNI went for 3 hours. And I went to someone and said, I don't know if I can be in this organization. They said, why not? I said, I can't. I've got 3 hours to have one-to-ones. They said, that is not normal, Lisa. So part of that is training.
Absolutely. And so what would be some of the other examples, Lisa, around training that we provide, new members coming into BNI to maximize their membership?
Well, the best one is the onboarding of member success program, Tony, because there is so many moving parts in BNI that if they can jump into the member success program as soon as possible to get to understand some of those moving parts. And BNI is full of acronyms. So if we can help you understand those acronyms, then that is a really great way to embrace your first month, 2 months is to get into that training. And then every single aspect, we're going to teach you how to pitch your business. We're going to teach you how to do a feature presentation. Some people, we're going to teach you business etiquette, dress for the referrals you want to receive. So every aspect, we want to train you to get the most out of it, including how to run that effective one-to-one through a process of questions and why. So the biggest thing is why we do the training. I can train you in whatever I like, but if I don't tell you why we're training it, you're just going to go, oh, there's more rules, right? So I can tell you why that I'm the queen of why. Tell you why we're doing every aspect as a new member, not that it's just because there's another rule or another process, because we don't have rules. We've got processes, and I'll tell you the why.
Fantastic. How does BNI help businesses not just survive, but thrive in today's economy?
The thriving is whatever you want to take out of that, because I would love to talk about the non-tangible benefits of BNI that help you thrive. But the thriving can be different things to different people. Is that referrals? Is that, I want business, Leisa, I need referrals, show me the money? Is that, I just got off the phone this morning with an electrician who's been in for a month and a half, and he's already told me how he's changed the way he speaks to his staff because what he's learned in 6 weeks in BNI.
Wow.
So is that what's making business thrive? Because we know how to speak to our teams more effectively. So what thriving means to one person might be what thriving is different to another person. But as a community, we can support each other. So if he went to someone in his chapter and said, hey, can you help me with more about communication? Because that's what he needs to thrive. That community of BNI is coming together to help him thrive in business. So I know it's not a direct answer, Tony, but I think there's so many accumulative things come together to help show somebody how they can thrive in business and in BNI.
Yeah, no, it's a great answer. Now, have you got another powerful success story of a BNI member whose business has been transformed through the network?
Absolutely. So people who know me in my region and not in my region call me the Velvet Sledgehammer. So when a member came to me and said he wasn't getting what he hoped for out of BNI, I sat down with him, looked him in the face and said, have you given this 110%? And he said, no, I have not. And I said, if you give me a few more months at 110%, then let's come back together and talk about it not working for you. Well, needless to say, I don't know how many team members he now has in BNI, and 60% of his business is coming from BNI because he actually started following the system and giving it everything he had. And I like the saying, if you treat BNI like it's your biggest client, then that's what it will become. But you need to give it 110%, that it's going to evolve like that for you. And a lot of the tradies are like that they build their business. Some of them can't see the forest for the trees. That's their journey. But the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, at least half a dozen, have just kept putting on staff, and using people like yourself and the HR and all of those, the accountants and the bookkeepers, the VAs, to help them grow just to more success.
So you get out of things what you put into them, clearly, which is amazing. So operating at 110%, that's one of the key traits to a successful BNI member. What would be another trait or traits that successful BNI members possess?
One I think that goes unthought of, I don't know if that's a word, but unthought of, is credibility. I don't know that people put enough emphasis on credibility. So every single thing that you do in business and in BNI is speaking about your credibility. The way you show up, the way you turn up, the way you speak up, the way you do your roles. If you do all of them exceedingly well, that is going to help you with success. So if you take on a leadership team role, which is timely because we're just changing our leadership team roles, embrace that like it's your business. By running that role or doing that role is like part of your business, that's going to help your credibility. So I think the emphasis on credibility is not, we don't put enough emphasis on that. Generally speaking, the way you talk to another person, all of those adds up to success. I often say, if you talk to a waitress badly, I'm never going to refer you. Because if you can't respect the waitress, how do I know you're going to respect my client?
Powerful. We learned earlier that you're the franchise owner of Brisbane South West and Toowoomba. What are some big goals that you've got for your region over the upcoming years, Leisa?
Well, I have a joke with my region that when I get to 500 members, I always perceived success as a tag heel watch. So I made a deal with my husband that when I got to 500 members, we would celebrate by buying me a tag heel watch. But actually, what I want, Tony, with those 500 members is not necessarily more chapters. It's the chapters being larger in numbers, because the larger the chapter, the more success for my members or our members. So if that ultimate goal, the big, hairy, audacious goal is 25 chapters, all sitting at 45 members or over 40 members. Right now, I'd like my 15 chapters to all be over 25 members. And I've got one that's nearly 50, and I've got one that's nearly 40 and nearly 30. But those ones that are under 25, let's get them over 25. Then let's get them over 30. Because if you're making more money, then that it helps my business. Because if you're not making money and you leave, that doesn't help my business. And one of the misconceptions, I'm going back to that question because I have a light bulb, a great moment, is people often think the more money members make, the more money I make. Well, I'd probably be in my rich mansion if that was the case. But the cap on what a member makes is what you set. The cap on what I make is a membership. So I make a membership. The sky's the limit for my members, for our members, the whole of any BNI member. So that's your cap, whatever you want to put on that.
Fantastic. Any new initiatives or programs that the members should be excited about, Leisa?
There are so many updates coming on BNI Connect.
Right.
And just even inviting visitors to other chapters now you can do as a member. So as a member, if you want to invite a visitor to another chapter, you can do that through the app now. But always evolving, which is what I love. And you know, way back when I bought the franchise or the opportunity came to buy, someone said to me, Leisa, why don't you just go and start your own networking group? Why would I? Like innovation of BNI through BNI Connect, through Business Builder, and what they have coming up. The biggest event of our year, of course, is for the first time in 40 years, the global conference in Sydney. Now, you can do the math. It's 77 countries worldwide or 76 countries worldwide. I don't think it's going to be back in Australia in a short time. You need to be at the conference in Sydney. If you've been to a global, if you've never been to a global, it's in our home country. It's amazing. So lots of initiatives. And what I'd love to tell the people listening to this is all of those ideas on BNI Connect come from us. So if you've got a great idea about something that should be on BNI Connect, put it in as a suggestion. That's how those apps get, better and better and better, is because we suggest it.
Well, it's one of the values, which is traditions and innovations, and it's the innovation side that if we can see that there is a better way to do something, a more efficient way to do something, then speak up and share with all of us. So, no, I love it. Fantastic. Leisa, if you had to sum up the future of your region in one sentence, what would that be?
Oh, gosh. I don't remember what I submitted on my questionnaire. In one sentence, collaboration of business owners supporting each other to just succeed.
It's amazing, right? Collaboration of business owners to support each other and succeed. Just want to do some rapid fire questions for you. So one word to describe BNI.
Supportive.
Your proudest moment as a franchise owner.
Friendships.
A BNI. That's okay. They're your answers, by the way. BNI value you live by every day.
The way you do small things is the way you do all things.
I like it. One piece of advice for someone considering joining BNI.
Find the group that or chapter that suits you and fits your personality. BNI is for everyone. Not everyone's for BNI.
It's a good point you make, because plenty of people go to a BNI and their one and only experience, they don't enjoy it. And so that then tarnishes their whole view of BNI. Whereas, like you're saying, even though it's part of a franchise system, there's operations, manuals and procedures, etc. Every chapter has their own culture because it's run by humans. And so if you experience a BNI and perhaps you didn't really feel or relate to that chapter, find another chapter. There's plenty of them out there. Like you said, there's plenty of chapters out where you can find the one that fits and feels like it's the home for you.
Or if you tried BNI years and years and years ago and you haven't been back, recently a visitor went to one of our chapters, said, I had no intentions of joining, but it wasn't how I remembered it. It was better. But it could have been he was in a different room, but it didn't matter. He joined, he put his application on the spot.
Fantastic. Last quick response question. What excites you most about the future of BNI?
The fact that we can continue to grow and our name is not so secretive anymore. BNI is not such a secret anymore. We are the best referral network in the world, and people are now starting to hear about us so that we can share it more and more.
Amazing. And they're hearing about it through amazing podcasts like this one. So fantastic. Thank you, Leisa. Thank you for joining us. Hey, look, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. I want to extend a massive heartfelt thank you to our guest, Leisa Gill, for sharing her insights with us. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the BNI Effect on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, and please leave us a review. Until next time, give more, trust more, grow more.